history, and I'm aware that you wrote poetry for 30 years before publishing a book. Can you say something about that fact?
Well, some poets, Donald Hall was one, who said, you don't publish too fast. Like it's easy, like they're rushing, like they're waiting in the wings to grab your stuff. I don't think they can wait that long. I can't wait that long. If you put it in the drawer for that long, you're not going to care about it much anymore. Time has moved on. So I think there's a certain urgency about getting the work out. So I send them. I'm convinced of their worth, but I'm not the final judge. Those out there will decide whether. There is a wonderful T-shirt. You may have seen it, and it speaks so much to we as writers. It says in large letters, "Best of luck in placing your work elsewhere."
So how did it happen that you were 3 decades waiting to publish a book? What were you doing when you were writing? What was happening?
Well, I was writing and learning because my education is from books. My writing room is just filled with books, floor to ceiling books like that. But you send your work out and they say yes or they say no. People ask for advice about that, and there's really nothing at risk. They say yes or they say no, and you keep writing. So I kept writing, kept sending things out, and it just happened that it took that long. Maybe that was to my benefit. Maybe I ripened over time.
Yeah, I mean that first book was award-winning and sort of a breakthrough. All the lavish in common, so it seemed worth the journey. You studied at the Rhode Island School of Design, which you mentioned, and you were the chair of an art department, the director of a gallery for many years. How in your mind do you distinguish between what a poem can do and what a painting can do, or do you distinguish?
For many years I did not show the writing and the visual arts together because it seems that if you see pictures and language underneath it, it's like one is there to explain the other. I don't want that explanation. I want them to be seen each in their own right. So for a long time I did not show them together. At one time, in order to try to overcome that, I made the titles great big. They were just like page-sized titles. When the first chapbook came out, they said, well, your work is very visual. I can see why you're in the visual arts. So the work is visual, therefore we should have illustrations. And my response was, no, if the words are visual, that's the sign that you don't need the illustration. Let that visual work speak for itself.
And you live with Frances is an artist herself, a printmaker. What has that meant? What has been the collaboration between you two? You've shown art together a couple of occasions. What has that meant for your work and your life, that collaboration?
Well, not only is she a visual artist, she's also a calligrapher and a great brain. But we've been together for 53 years, you can hardly imagine that she wouldn't appear frequently. Sometimes when she's included in a poem, once your poems get out there, of course, they're open for interpretation, and other people can say what they think they mean. Well, in one poem, it has Frances. We had a mattress that needed to be beaten into shape. You sleep on it, it's going to get a little sink, so she was beat. And I referenced that in the poem, and a famous critic said, this could stand for a miracle problem. It didn't, it was just getting the mattress back into shape. I think she's a very good critic. Poetry is not her favorite. She likes me, which I'm very grateful for. But, and she's a good critic, whether or not she says I like poetry, she's a good critic. You would ask at one time, do you read a lot of poetry? Yes, books are my education, so I read a lot of poetry. Frances came by one day and said, I was reading a book of essays. She said, what? You're reading something with sentences?